Hey, welcome back. This time, we're rebuilding this stove. So far, I've pulled the bricks out of the sides here, out of this front piece. There's the door right there. I got the bricks out of this side too. That way I can get this down. I'm gonna have to cut this brace out so I can get this out, get this box out. So I don't know if I'm gonna just cut it or eliminate this whole piece together and then put some more bracing and I don't know. I think I have bricks back here maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out as I go. And 6 months later, we're back. We're gonna get started. We're gonna take all these bricks out. We're gonna put them on the floor over here so they're out of the way. Get this box ripped out like I said. Get this out. I'm not sure what I'm gonna end up doing with this. It's in pretty bad shape. Missing a giant chunk out of that spot right there. But we'll get her opened up and see what we're ending up doing. All right, let's get this support cut out of here. Alright, so we got it so we can pull this out here now. This is the air inlet that I have that goes in to the little desk fan. Doesn't really blow enough air, but it was a good idea and it kind of works, so I'm keeping it. So I think what I'm gonna do, because the back of this still looks really good, I think I'm just gonna pull it out, chop this up some, smash it together so these wings aren't, I mean, like you can see this one caving in, and then like that one is all caved in right here. Just eats up a lot of space to where you could be putting wood, making heat. All right, so let's get that out and see how this goes. Alright, so we got the sides cut off, and I took the hammer and smashed in these edges to make them a little bit smoother. Then I tried welding them up so they stick, so they don't swell out when it heats up as bad again. This side took okay. I mean, this thing's so heat baked that I don't have a lot to weld to. And this side, it wouldn't cave back in. Like you can see right here, I tried to cave it in and it broke. So I don't know if any of these welds stuck to it or not, but it's whatever. It'll last another year or two, maybe 3 or 4, who knows. But we're gonna get it shoved back down in this hole. Hopefully getting the air hooked back up down in there won't be too bad. I don't think I messed this up too bad. It's still pretty round, so it should slip right in there. It shouldn't be too bad. Alright, let's get this back in. Alright, now that we have the air box in, let's get this top on the firebox. Put it in there. And this is where I found out that because I cut the arms off of this air box, it's not going to fit right. So, start just filling it back in with the bricks. Alright, so we have this air box back in. It's not hooked up. But I put these bricks back in here. As you can see, most of them were broken, so it's just kind of a jigsaw puzzle. And I have these ones stacked across the front. That's where this piece comes in. I'm not sure how well it's going to work now that it's been cooked for a couple years, but we're going to try getting it tacked back in here. And that'll kind of hold them up like this. As long as we're good about putting the wood in down here in the center, those won't fall out. And if they do, we just got to wait for it to cool down, and most of the time we can get them back in. If not, it's not that big of a deal. We've ran it plenty of times without it in there. So now I'm going to get this tacked in, and then I'll try to figure out something with this. Doesn't quite fit in there like it used to, because when it had this air box had the longer arms on it, it kind of held that, so I might have to cut a piece and put in here to just set it on or something. And the big hole piece is down there, so we might try to like tack it back on there or something to see if it holds. Not sure. I don't have a chunk of steel big enough to cover it, so it'll just have to be a patch job. Figured before I took the time and welded this front plate back in, I would weld it back together some, try to get some more years out of it. Kind of pulling itself apart as it was. Trying to figure out how to put this back in here without it falling down. I ended up sticking a brick right there in the back, and it stabilized it a lot, so I just stuck a line across there and then stuck a couple in the front corners, and it really was stiff, so I just loaded her up with bricks, and we're gonna call it a day. Hopefully it doesn't go anywhere. It shouldn't, as long as I don't knock any of the bricks out while I'm loading wood into it or anything, so should be good. Here I tried to fill that hole in with a cinder block, but with the support in there, there's just not enough room for the air and the fire to go across all of it, so the cinder block has to come out, and we'll just have to leave a hole there. Alright, so after looking at this closer, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to set it back in here. If it falls out, it falls out. But I mean, you can see that's just from being so hot and flexing so much, it just broke it. So, and it doesn't even fit back in the hole right. I mean, there's nothing missing from it. It's just so warped and everything that it's not gonna weld or anything. I'm gonna take and weld this brace back in here and get the rest of the bricks in here. It took a lot of time getting these bricks back in here right. Got to get them in there so they don't fall out every time you start up the stove or go to load it or something, you know. Then you have to start all over every time you cool down. It's just a lot of work. So I put in the time now to just make sure they were all sitting there good and not going to fall out. Now that I have everything together and the bricks where I want them, I decided it's probably time to get the air hooked up. It went surprisingly well considering you can't see the inside pipe, but it all went together. Here I'm working on the channeling for the pan to hopefully cut down on the smoke. Have some cutting to do to get rid of these edge pieces. This front one was just kind of to hold the pan in the front of it, kind of keep it squarish. More of a reference point than really anything. And then this piece over here on the side, it was just kind of a failed attempt to fill in some of the gap, but the gap's so big that it really probably wasn't doing much. Might have kept the pan from flexing with the heat or something, but other than that, it wasn't doing anything. Alrighty, last thing I plan on doing today, I'm going to put this channel on here, hoping it'll help keep the smoke out. Because you can see, I think there's a massive gap under there. Hopefully I can fill some of these gaps in some. Not sure what I'm going to end up doing back here. Got to put the pan on here, see where it's all going to sit at. I'm hoping this will cut down on the smoke rolling around it. Alright, so I have the pan up here and got this edge on it. First problem I'm running into is you can see this gap right here in between this angle and then the back of the stove. You can see down into the stove. So now I have to figure out and carve a hole into this back lip big enough to get it to sit flush. Because right now, I mean, this side's probably a 1/4 inch away from the pan, and then that side's probably a 1/2 inch, just between this lip being uneven and then the angles being uneven. But we'll get it figured out. Alright, so I took the angle grinder, cut just a little bit off of this. As you can see, that end had a bit more sticking out down there, so took that, tapered it into this one. See how it fits in there. Alright, so we have it smashed back in here. You see that gap is much tighter. And there's still a little bit of a gap over there, but not as much of one. So now it's time to go through and get it all tacked in. That way we can finish welding it up. Alright, so we have this channel on. Doesn't look very square if you look like down here, but it is what it is. It fits tight to the pan, or at least tight enough. So now we just have to go through and get all of these massive gaps filled in. There's still a little bit of a gap back here, but that'll be alright. And then there'll be a little bit of a gap up front, but I don't want anything to impede getting this pan off. I don't want to edge up there and, like, I don't know, be like dragging it across it and have it crease it or something. Just be a bad day. But this side doesn't look too bad. So probably just run a bead of weld down that. But this side I'll probably have to find something to stick in it, because that's a big gap. And I don't feel like trying to fill all of that. That'd just be ridiculous. I'll have to find, I don't know, maybe I'll stick some of the pieces I got from the inside air box in it. Alright, I'll check back with you later. Well, we didn't get it done. Got a little tack weld there. We got most of this welded. We still got that gap on that side to do. Gotta find something to fill that. But the welder quit working on me, so I'm gonna have to call it quits. False alarm. The welder just needed to cool down, so got it all welded up. They don't look the best, but really all they're doing is holding in smoke and making sure the metal doesn't actually move. But put in some tack so it doesn't try to roll on both sides. I did it. Got this filled in. Ended up putting a little bit of a welding rod in there and just kind of filling in around it. That seemed to work pretty good. I'm just gonna leave this hole back here. We were gonna stick some rods, just some like tether tines back in here, but I think it's just gonna be a waste of steel because it's just gonna come out here and then come up the pan anyways. So just the little bits that are gonna come out, I'm not gonna worry about it. We took care of the big stuff where it just rolls up the sides of it and gets all crazy. So now we should just, and when we start up it'll roll out the front a little bit, but it is what it is. Problem with that, trying to fix that is this is crowned. So I mean, you'd have to work from here to here and build it up and then different here. Just be a mess. Just not gonna worry about it. But that's all for now. So thank you for watching. If you want to see more, if you want to see me use it in the spring here in a few months, stick around, subscribe. I'm always doing startup videos in the spring. I'll leave a few here at the end, and then yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day.